going to have a discussion on the national territory. So this is a very important topic because you'll be able to know the meets and bounds of the territory of the Philippines. So I know that in your past subject, you already discussed this. But I want to discuss this na more siguro specific, no? So, class, it is provided under Article 1, ano? Article 1 actually speaks of national territory, and Article 1 is abundant with many concepts. As you can see here, may mga blue, di ba? May mga nakakulay blue. So, Philippine Archipelago, all other territories over which the Philippines has sovereignty and jurisdiction, and its territorial the seabed, the subsoil, and the insular shelves and other submarine areas. So I am going to discuss that in detail kung ano ba ang ibig sabihin niyan because hindi naman importante na ma-memorize nyo verbatimly ang mga ang definition ng national territory, but at least you know ano ba ang ibig sabihin ng bawat salita na napapaloob sa national territory. Okay. The national territory comprises the Philippine archipelago with all the islands and waters embraced therein, and all other territories over which the Philippines has sovereignty or jurisdiction, consisting of its terrestrial, fluvial, and aerial domains, including its territorial sea, the seabed, the subsoil, the insular shelves, and other submarine areas. The waters ABC. Ano ibig sabihin ng ABC? Around, between, and connecting the islands of the archipelago, regardless of their breadth and dimensions, form part of the internal waters of the Philippines. So, Article 1 is abundant in concept. I think we need to discuss first what do you mean by internal waters, di ba? Wait lang. By internal waters. So this it can be seen in the last paragraph of the Article 1. So the waters around, between, and connecting the islands of the archipelago, regardless of their breadth and dimensions, form part of the internal waters in the Philippines. Eto class yung tinutukoy na internal waters, okay? Internal waters of the Philippines. Isa yan sa mga konsepto ng Article 1 or ng national territory. Ngayon, may mababasa din kayo, no? May mababasa din kayo about the continental shelves, okay? The continental shelves. And under the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Seas, or yung sinasabing narinig nyo na rin ito, yung UNCLOS, no? The continental shelves refer to the part of the seabed. So nakikita niyo yan, the seabed, the subsoil, form part, no, of the national territory, ano? So we are referring here to the natural prolongation of seabed. Ano ba yung natural prolongation of seabed? This is not to exceed 200 nautical miles from the baseline. And Article 1 defines continental shelves as the seabed, the subsoil, and other submarine areas. So, eto class yung sinasabi natin na continental shelves, okay? So, siya ay ito ang mga bumubuo sa kanila. So you have the seabed, the subsoil, the insular shelves, and other submarine areas. And part 1, okay, let's discuss the first concept of the yung una, no, na naka-blue. The parts of Article 1. Number 1 is the Philippine archipelago. Okay. The archipelagic estates, pag sinabi mong archipelagic estates kasi, if one country, 'di ba, is composed of several islands. That's the archipelagic estates. So archipelagic estates are those estates comprising of comprises of two or more archipelagos. So we have the Philippines, di ba? We have Indonesia, we have Italy. So those detached from the mainland. So when you speak of Philippines as an archipelago, class, the Philippines signed the UNCLOS where all the parties to this international convention have agreed that archipelagos have unique rights and method of measuring their territory. So ito yung nilagdaan natin sa UNCLOS. Ang sinasabi dyan is that ang lahat ng kasapi dito sa international convention na ito ay nag-agree na ang kung archipelagos have unique rights. Meron silang karapatan at meron silang method din sa pag-measure ng kanilang territory at doon class nagmula ang archipelagic doctrine. Ano ba ang sinasabi ng archipelagic doctrine? That Philippines is considered as one integrated unit instead of being divided into more than 7,000 islands. And this assertion class, together with the straight baseline method, is what we call the archipelagic doctrine. So class, kung alam ko na napag-aralan nyo rin sa inyong Philippine Constitution, ano-ano ba yung iba't ibang pamamaraan o method ng pagsukat sa national territory ng Pilipinas? Under the UNCLOS class, sinasabi na may dalawang uri ng pag-measure ng baseline. Siguro alam nyo naman pag sinabi kong may baseline, pakita ko sa inyo lang. Eto kita nyo yung mga arrows, kita nyo itong kulay green na ito. This is a straight baseline method. I am going to explain that to you later. Okay? I'm going to explain that to you later. So class, back to my discussion kanina. So there are, sabi sa UNCLOS, may dalawang uri daw ng pag-measure ng baseline. Ang unang-una class is yung normal baseline method. Itong normal baseline method ay ginagamit halos ng lahat ng bansa. So it is measuring the territorial sea from the shore. Kakaintindihan naman tayo pag sinabi niyong shore, when the shore is at low tide and counting 12 nauticals from there. So but we have as an archipelago is what we call the straight baseline method. Ito yung class yung isa sa mga method o ito yung method na ginagamit natin sa pag-measure ng ating national territory. So ang straight baseline method, it is a method of measuring our baseline from our territorial sea by identifying the outermost point of the archipelago and drawing a straight baseline connecting those outermost points by straight baseline and form part of the internal waters of the Philippines. So all waters inside that baseline ay kinu-consider daw na internal waters of the Philippines. However, class kasi, etong ganitong method ay nagkakaroon din, they have this conflict then on that when it comes to the principle of archipelagic waters, kasi there is a thin dividing the archipelagic waters and internal waters. Ano ba yun? At ito ang dapat nyong tatandaan. Class, when you speak of archipelagic waters, of course, these are waters inside the baseline by connecting the outermost point of the archipelago. So sinasabi dito ay all waters embraced therein inside the enclosure form part of the straight baseline are considered archipelagic doctrine. However, class, under 1987 Constitution, that is also considered as our internal waters of the Philippines. Okay, wait lang class ha.
Good morning po, ma'am.
Good morning. So malinaw tayo dun ha. Nagkakaroon ng issue pag sinabi mong archipelagic at sinabi mong internal waters. So I will explain this to you. So under 1987 Constitution kasi, the 1987 Constitution also considered as our internal waters yung ating archipelagic water. Kasi under Article 1, last paragraph, the waters around, between, and connecting the islands of the archipelago, regardless of their breadth and dimension, form part of the internal waters of the Philippines. So class, eto, may complication. This Article 1 of the Constitution and the Archipelagic Doctrine has this complication with regard to the case of Magallona versus Ermita. Ano ba yung sinasabi sa kaso na Magallona versus Ermita? So in this case, Dean Magallona of the UP College of Law, together with our prominent figures, Riza Hontiveros and some politician, they question the legality of the baseline law passed by the Congress. Ang sinasabi sa baseline law, it defines the outermost points of the archipelago. So that yung outermost points daw, class, will be the basis of drawing up the baseline method, which is true naman, di ba? So yung bawat baseline sa bawat island sa Pilipinas, magdodraw lang sila doon ng straight baseline, and that would form part of the archipelagic waters. However, the waters within that enclosure form part of the straight baseline were considered not as mere internal waters but merely archipelagic waters. So what is the difference between the two? Ano ma'am ang problema kung itong yung enclosure, kapag na yung lahat ng islands ay na-connect na natin through baseline method, what would be the complications between internal waters at merely archipelagic waters siya? Kasi kung ang sinasabi sa archipelagic doctrine na if you're using the straight baseline method, lahat in-enclose mo na siya, yung buong island, lahat daw yun would form as internal waters of the Philippines. Na sinasabi, no, that is only archipelagic water. So what would be the difference between the two? Class, please take note, no, this is very important, that in internal waters, no, kung itong mga part na ito ng enclosure ay masasabi nating internal waters, class, other countries cannot exercise right of innocent passage. But in archipelagic waters, other countries can pass through and exercise the so-called right of innocent passage. So ngayon, nagkaroon ng discussion dito kasi kung itong straight baseline ay sasabihin natin na kapag in-enclose natin lahat ng islands sa Pilipinas, that would form part of our internal waters as what is mentioned in the last paragraph of Article 1 of the referring to national territory. That would mean that the other countries cannot pass through that internal waters. There is a need of consent from the Philippines. Okay? Malinaw tayo dun, ha? Yun ang pagkakaiba ng internal waters and archipelagic waters at yun ang pinagtatalunan dito sa Magallona versus Ermita. Na kung yan ay form part ng internal waters, yung lahat ng in-enclose mo sa straight baseline method. So that would mean na we can exercise, no, our right. So other countries may not pass through that internal waters because that is internal waters of the Philippines. So again, in internal waters, class, other countries cannot exercise the right of innocent passage, but kung ang sinasabi daw ay itong na-enclose lang sa ating internal waters ay form part lang ng ating archipelagic water, then other countries can pass through. Okay, and other countries can pass through and exercise the so-called the right of innocent passage. Now, in the case of Magallona versus Ermita, penned by no other than Associate Justice Carpio, who eagerly wants to protect our sovereignty, according to him, within our archipelagic waters, even if under the Constitution that should be considered our internal waters, so within our archipelagic waters, other countries daw can exercise the right to innocent passage. Ma'am, bakit ganon? Nagmula tayo doon sa method na kinikilala ng UNCLOS kung paano mo i-measure ang iyong national territory. Nag-measure tayo, ang ginamit natin is straight baseline method. Paggamit ng straight baseline method, pinag-connect natin lahat ng isla. So pag binuo mo yon, yung lahat ng napapaloob doon na internal waters, sabi sa national territory, that would form part of internal waters of the Philippines. What is the implication? If that would form part of the internal waters of the Philippines, other country cannot exercise the right to innocent passage. What is the right to innocent passage? Meaning, the other countries, yung mga ship ng ibang bansa, hindi pwedeng pumasok sa internal waters ng Pilipinas without our consent. However, yun nga sinasabi ko sa inyo, ang sabi dito, ang paliwanag ni Associate Justice Carpio is that even if daw under the Constitution, that would form part of our internal waters, other countries daw can exercise the right to innocent passage. Bakit daw? Because the right of innocent passage, the right of other countries to pass through in archipelagic waters or territorial sea even without the consent of the coastal estate. Yun yung sinasabi eh. So the right to innocent passage, the right to innocent passage is the right of other countries na pumasok sa archipelagic waters or territorial sea ng kahit walang consent ng coastal estate. But to the mind of Magallona and other petitioners in this case is that is unconstitutional. Because our constitution daw is very specific that when you speak of archipelagic waters, we are referring to all waters embraced therein, and that is considered internal waters. And under the international law, ano yung international law? Under the UNCLOS, the right of innocent passage cannot be exercised within the internal waters of the coastal estate. At tayo yung coastal estate. So if they want to pass through in the internal waters, they need the permission of the coastal estate. Nag-gets in class, ha? Sabi ni Associate Justice Carpio dito that within the enclosure of the strait baseline, the waters around between the estate baseline are just considered archipelagic waters. And so that other countries can exercise the right to innocent passage. Ang ginawa niya dito, class, nagkaroon siya dito ng mga kondisyon. However, ang sabi niya dito sa decision niya, only in those rivers, lakes, bays, streams are considered internal waters where other countries cannot exercise the right to innocent passage. But some other portion of the archipelagic waters cannot be considered as internal waters, hence other countries may exercise the right to innocent passage. Malinaw doon tayo, class, okay? Pakita ko sa iyo para naiintindihan. Ito, class, yung sinasabi natin. We are using the strait baseline method para makita natin, no? Makita natin ano ba ang nasasakop sa Pilipinas. So yan ang strait baseline method, yung outermost point ng kada isla ay pinag-connect-connect at eto, class, ang sinasabi na lahat ng tubig na napapaloob sa bawat isla ng Pilipinas by using the strait baseline method ay internal waters. Diyan nagkakagulo ang Magallona versus Ermita case. Sabi ni Supreme Court Justice Carpio, hindi mo maituturing yan na internal waters lahat. Nakikita niyo to, kaya may Magallona case dito eh. Sapagkat, ano ang sabi? Ano ang sabi dun sa case ni ang sabi dun sa case ng Magallona versus Ermita na nagkaroon ng kondisyon ang si Justice Carpio. O sige, sabihin natin by using the enclosure of the strait baseline, the waters around, are just considered archipelagic waters. Ang sinasabi lang dito ay ang RLBS. Ano yung RLBS? Rivers, lakes, bays, and streams lang daw ang itinuturing na internal water of the Philippines. At etong malaking portion na ito, class, ay sinasabi na archipelagic water ito, hindi internal water. Ano ang implication? Ang implication dyan, class, pwedeng mag-exercise ng innocent passage ang lahat ng ship na dumaan dyan. However, sa Manila Bays, sa mga lakes natin, sa rivers, sa streams, hindi pwedeng pumasok ang mga ship ng ibang bansa kung walang permission ang coastal estate. Ang coastal estate na sinasabi ko, class, ay tayo dito sa Pilipinas. So yun class, doon nagkaroon ng linaw na eto ba ay internal waters? this is in accordance with the Article 1 of the National Territory. However, again, nagkaroon dyan ng kondisyon ang Supreme Court na only yung daw bays, lakes, rivers, and streams na nag-form part dito sa internal waters ng Pilipinas ang sinasabi lang na internal waters at etong malaking bahagi na to ay itinuturing na isang archipelagic water kung saan ang barko ng ibang bansa ay pwedeng pumasok because under UNCLOS we have the doctrine of innocent passage kung saan ang ibang bansa ay makakapasok sa archipelagic water ng Pilipinas nang walang pahintulot ng coastal estate. Okay, maliwanag tayo doon. So that is the first definition of Philippine archipelago and also the last paragraph of the national territory. Okay, so that would be the explanation for the part 1 of the archipelagic water. Ngayon, part 2, yung all other territories over which the Philippines has sovereignty and jurisdiction. So, anong ibig sabihin nun? It means, class, that the national territory of the Philippines is not really limited to Philippine archipelago. There may be other territories outside the Philippine archipelago which are also part of our territory and we claim for sovereignty. Okay? So, the part 3 would be its territorial sea, the seabed, the subsoil, and other submarine areas. So as you can see here, ito yung kaninang in-explain ko na sa inyo, yung about the seabed, the subsoil, and the insular shelves and other submarine areas. So yan, class, ay nasa ilalim na ng tubig. So ibig sabihin, from aerial hanggang kababaan, mamaya madidiscuss natin itong mga submarine areas na to on the later part of the discussion. Okay. Ito actually, class, this is the national map from the NAMRIA. NAMRIA is a government agency who is authorized to draw the maps of our estate, of our country. So nakikita nyo yung yellow. Ito, class, yan yung yellow, no? The yellow one, class, is the baseline. So mula dito, class, sa baseline na kulay dilaw na ito, no, you count 12 nautical miles from here. And then you got this blue one. Itong blue, class, ito yung tinatawag na TS o territorial sea. And from territorial sea, class, you count again another 12 nautical miles and that would be the contiguous zone. Ito siya, class, yung parang yellow-orange. And from here, class, from this contiguous zone, you count 12 nautical miles, no? And this is the yellow one. Yung 12 nautical miles, yung 24 nautical miles from the baseline, that is the yellow. So it is important to know the archipelagic doctrine because without, class, the archipelagic doctrine, we will not follow the straight baseline method. So as you can see here, you see the outermost point. Yung mga outermost point na yan, So each point is a baseline of the yellow. Ito yung mga outermost point, class, Yun yung pinaka outermost ng kada isla. Okay? So using this point, they draw the straight baseline. So, and then they count here the territorial sea, our contiguous zone, and our contiguous economic zone. So without, class, the archipelagic doctrine, normally the states will just use the normal baseline. Ano ba yung ibig sabihin ng normal baseline method? They just count the territorial sea from the baseline, as you can see in the black. Ito sa, class, yung black na yan, Ito yung sinasabi kong black. No, they just count the territorial sea from the baseline, as you can see in the black line near the white circle. Okay, so that's the archipelagic water, and that is the Magallona case. So remember, class, that all internal waters are considered part of the archipelagic water, but not all archipelagic waters are considered our internal waters. Ulitin ko, napaka-importante nito, ha. Lahat ng internal waters are considered archipelagic water. Pero hindi lahat ng archipelagic waters ay maituturing mo na internal waters. Dapat naintindihan nyo na yung, class, dun sa Magallona case. kung ano ba ang implication ng archipelagic water at ng internal water. Sinasabi sa provision about national territory, we use straight baseline. Upon straight baseline, internal waters yan. Yan ang sinasabi sa ating last paragraph of Article 1 referring to national territory. Pero class, internal waters daw ito, no? Pero all internal waters are considered archipelagic water, but not all archipelagic water are considered internal waters. Because under the case of Magallona, penned by Justice Carpio, anong sinabi nila? Only the rivers, lakes, streams, bays are considered internal waters of the Philippines. Thus, the right to innocent passage may be exercised by other countries. So, halimbawa, ang ibang ship ay pupunta sa Manila Bay, ay kailangan yan ng permission kasi hindi nila pwedeng i-exercise yung the right of innocent passage sa internal waters ng Pilipinas. So, sana naging malinaw doon tayo, class, ano? So, back to the territorial sea. As you can see here, the blue line, 12 nautical miles from the yellow line. This is the baseline. And the Philippines exercises sovereignty here. But mind you, class, not just sovereign rights over the territorial sea. Pag sinabi mo, class, na sovereignty means this is ours. Atin yon, mula yellow hanggang blue. Ito niya, class, ha? Mula yellow hanggang blue, atin yan. Eh ano naman, ma'am, kung atin yan? That would mean that other countries cannot do any activity there without our permission because these are part of our national territory. However, class, that is just a general rule. There is one exception to the sovereignty over territorial sea, and this you can find under UNCLOS. Ito yung sinasabing the right of innocent passage, meaning other countries can pass through the part of our territory even without the permission so long as it is an innocent passage. So that is the only exception over our territorial right of sovereignty over our territorial sea. But mind you, wag niyong kalilimutan ang bays, streams, lakes, and rivers. Because kung doon sila papasok, kailangan nila, they cannot exercise the right to innocent passage. Question, ma'am, what about the contiguous zone? From the blue line, ito class contiguous zone from the blue line to the yellow-orange. Class, I'm sorry, but from the blue line, from the contiguous zone to the orange line, we do not have sovereignty over our contiguous zone. We only exercise sovereign rights. Ma'am, ano namang ibig sabihin ng sovereign rights? Na sinasabi mo na mula dun sa blue line, nakita niyo yun class to the yellow-orange line. We do not have sovereignty. Wala tayong sovereign dyan over our contiguous zone kasi contiguous zone na yun But, pwede tayong mag-exercise ng sovereign rights. So, ang tinatanong, what are those sovereign rights? Specifically, yung criminal jurisdiction on fiscal or foreign matters pagdating sa sanitary law at custom laws. So these are the ano yung exception doon? Though we do not have sovereign, but we have sovereign rights. These are the rights that we exercise over contiguous zone. Other than that, we do not have rights. So tandaan nyo, wala tayong karapatan mula dito sa blue hanggang dito sa all yellow-orange, wala tayong sovereign dyan. Pero exercise tayo ng sovereign rights tulad ng foreign matters, sanitary laws, custom laws, pwede. So these are the rights that we exercise over the contiguous zone. Other than that, we do not have rights. So same with our exclusive economic zone. So from the baseline, mula din sa baseline class, hanggang doon sa 200 nautical miles sa exclusive economic zone. Kita nyo naman dyan, nakikita nyo dyan. 200, ito yung kulay. 200 nautical miles, So, in exclusive economic zone, we do not have sovereignty. We only exercise sovereign rights ulit. Ano yung other sovereign rights? We have the right to explore and exploit our natural resources, and that's all. Yun lang yung karapatan natin mula doon sa exclusive economic zone. We do not have sovereign rights. But ang meron lang tayong sovereign rights na pwede nating i-exercise is to explore and exploit natural resources, and that's all. So meaning class, other countries may pass through innocently there and do some activities like what the China is doing. They are conducting economic activities and exploration of natural resources, which is of course against the international law. Okay? Okay, we also have the juridical continental shelf. Nakita niyo yung red dotted dyan? Kita pa ba dyan sa screen nyo? That is the red dotted lines. That is what you call the juridical continental shelf, which is 200 nautical miles. So the continental shelf is also the insular shelves, if it refers to the continental shelf of an archipelago. In an archipelago, we usually call insular shelves more than continental shelf. And the continental shelf class na tinutukoy ko ay eto yung mga seabed, the subsoil, insular shelves, and other submarine areas, which means nasa ilalim. Okay? We also have here the extended continental shelf, and this is a new concept class. This is a new concept, the extended continental shelf. As a rule class, the continental shelf should not exceed 200 nautical miles mula sa baseline. However, if we check on it underwater, there is a natural prolongation of continental shelf extended beyond 200 nautical miles. Mamaya makikita niyo yan dun sa mga pahuling discussion ko, polling discussion ko. Then, the continental shelf can be extended for more than 200 nautical miles up to the maximum of 350 nautical miles. And that is the green dotted lines. So, this green dotted lines class is the extended continental shelf. Kasi class, di ba? Kapag yung natural prolongation, iba kasi ang sukat niyan class kapag ikaw ay nasa dagat, nasa ibabaw ng dagat, at iba pagdating dun sa alam mo yon, yung sa ilalim ng dagat. So, the extended continental shelf is 350 nautical miles, which is the maximum. But maybe the natural prolongation, yung continental shelf. Pag sabi mo yung continental shelf, yung nandun sa ilalim ng dagat. Pero, ang limit doon, hindi dapat siya mag-extend ng 350 nautical miles. So, maybe, about 250 nautical miles, depending dun sa natural prolongation, kung ano nangyayari doon sa natural prolongation sa seabed underwater. Okay? Ngayon, kailangan din malaman natin, ma'am, ano ba yung mga component ng Philippine Archipelago? Pag tinanong kayo kung ano ang mga component ng Philippine Archipelago, we have the terrestrial domain, the fluvial domain, and the aerial domain. Okay? So these are the components of the Philippine Archipelago. Okay. Dun tayo sa part 2 para mas naiintindihan natin. All other territories over which the Philippines has sovereignty or jurisdiction. Territories outside the Philippine archipelago, but the Philippines then had sovereignty and jurisdiction. And the Philippines might establish sovereignty or jurisdiction. How? Upon discovery, occupation, prescription, cession, and accretion. So class, the national territory actually is not really limited on the Philippine archipelago. Sabi nila, ang national territory ay maaaring tumukoy sa teritoryo outside the Philippine archipelago. But the Philippines should have then sovereignty and jurisdiction. So anong ibig bang sabihin nun? It means that if we have historical rights or claim for sovereignty or jurisdiction, like our long claim for the North Borneo or Sabah, Malaysia, diba? Though we do not have the actual occupancy over the area, but still, we have a pending claim over Sabah, Malaysia, and North Borneo. So we have a story behind our claim over there. Actually, class, the Sultan of North Borneo had a rebellion, and the Sultan of Sulu helped the Sultan to suppress the rebellion. And the Sultan of Sulu Nagpadala siya ng mga warriors to fight the rebellion. And as a sign of gratitude and payment for the help extended by the Sultan of Sulu, the Sultan of Borneo ceded, allegedly in the northern part of Borneo to the Sultan of Sulu. However, the Sultan of Sulu failed to exercise occupancy at that time over that portion of Borneo. So in 1970, when Marcos won the election, the Sultanate of Sulu executed a deed of donation in favor sa atin, Republic of the Philippines over the Sabah Malaysia. And doon nag-start ang claim natin sa Sabah Malaysia. We even all have we also have a claim on sovereignty and jurisdiction over the Kalayaan Island Group. In the presidential decree passed by Marcos proclaiming our territorial claim over the island, we know that the Chinese government is not recognizing our claim over that portion of South China Sea and that what we call the West Philippine Sea. So those are the claim of our territory but not part of the Philippine archipelago. That should be treated as another part of territory. So makikita nyo, class, yun ang ibig sabihin kung bakit all other territories over which the Philippines has sovereignty or jurisdiction. Wala man lang yan sa straight baseline method na i-discuss natin kanina. But if we have a sovereignty and jurisdiction, then we may claim that is as Philippine as our territory. And the second part of this is that the second part is that the Philippines might establish sovereignty and jurisdiction, and this refers to the possibility of the Philippines to halimbawa ay discover yung mga hidden islands. So yung pag-discover ng mga hidden island, class, may alam kong napag-aralan nyo na rin ito, but siguro para ma-review na rin kayo, there are 5 ways of acquiring territory. Una, discovery. Pero mind you, class, ang nakalagay doon, hindi discovery or occupation. Ang sinasabi, discovery and occupation. So if you discovered an island, the same cannot be claimed without actual occupation. And that's what actually happens to Kalayaan Island. According to the stories, diba, si Admiral Thomas Cloma, siya yung founder class ng PMI College. He discovered the island in Kalayaan Group of Island. What he did was, he also donated that island to the Philippine government because he knows that he cannot have ownership over the island without occupying it. So that time, Marcos sent soldiers in some of the islands, and in fact, one of the biggest islands there was named by Marcos as the municipality of Kalayaan. There was a community there, there was a school, a church, airstrip, a municipal hall, but mostly the people who lived there was actually soldiers and their family. That is why ang sinasabi dyan ay discovery and occupation. Another one is prescription. Pag sinabi mong by prescription, we are referring to the lapse of time of being there. So you can claim ownership over the land. Like what happened, di ba? Nung kanunuan natin, we really don't have naman registry of deeds eh. Ngayon, yung mga dayo dito sa Mindoro, mula Batangas at ibang probinsya, class, mahilig sila na yung bakuran mo lang yan, no? Bakuran mo lang yan and that would be your own property na. At saka ang palitan ng kalakal nun, minsan ang palit lupa eh. So, ang ating namang mga ninuno noon ay hindi pa naman ganoon ka-aral, no? Hindi pa ganoon ka-aral pagdating sa importansya ng mga lupain. So, yung mga masisipag, class, ay di sila yung maraming lupa. Pangatlo ay ang cession. Ang ibig sabihin, class, ng cession is if another country ceded, no, ibinigay nila yung portion of territory nila to other countries. Ang example nito, class, ay ang Hong Kong was ceded to UK then. But there was this international agreement that after several years, Hong Kong should be brought back to the mainland China. So that's what UK did. Ito namang na-ceded territory nito, parang ayaw na nilang bumalik sa China. No? So, kasi they will be governed by the Chinese government. So, another one is accretion. So, in civil law, that would be the natural extension of land through natural movement of waters and earth, like because of huge flood, a big chunk of land was broken apart and some portion of it was moved by the river or water and the portion ended up with other land. So that is accretion. And conquest, isa pa rin naman siya pero hindi siya kinikilala because this is prohibited in the United Nations Charter. So this is actually no longer accepted means of acquiring a territory. Okay, the South China Sea, the West Philippine Sea, arbitration. Okay, class, ito, isa pang importanteng konsepto na maintindihan nyo. The West Philippine Sea arbitration, this involves disputes on 3 territorial objects. No? Ang una ay ang island, pangalawa ay rock, at yung pangatlo ay low tide elevation. And under international law, there are 2 kinds of object daw. Ang una is what we call high tide elevation. At pangalawa ay yung sinasabi natin na low tide elevation under the UNCLOS. The low tide elevation class is the elevation or a land which exists only when the water is low or on occasion of low tide. You can see the island or a part of the island, but if high tide, you cannot see that land portion. And under the UNCLOS, there are 2 kinds of high tide. The first island, the first is island and the second one is rock. Okay. Inano ko sa inyo yung high tide at saka low tide, okay? And under UNCLOS, again, dalawa ang high tide elevation. Ang una ay ang, wait lang class ha, umilayo. Ang una, class, ay ang high tide elevation at ang pangalawa ay ang rock. Okay? So, I will explain to you rock and low tide elevation and island. Ano bagang importansya, ma'am, niyang 3 kinds of territorial objects na yan? Okay. A low tide elevation class does not have territorial sea. Wala siyang contiguous zone. Wala siyang exclusive economic zone. Okay? Again, sa low tide elevation, walang territorial sea, walang contiguous zone, walang exclusive economic zone. But if the low tide elevation is within the exclusive economic zone of the coastal estate, then the coastal estate can exercise exploration and exploitation of natural resources over there. So the difference between the low tide elevation and a rock is that a rock has 12 nautical miles territorial sea, 12 nautical miles contiguous zone. However, a rock has no exclusive economic zone, has no 200 nautical miles exclusive contiguous zone, and no continental or insular shelves, but an island possesses complete rights as a country. Because it has 12 nautical miles territorial sea, it has 24 nautical miles contiguous zone, it has 200 nautical miles exclusive contiguous zone, and has 200 nautical miles continental shelf and insular shelves. And these are very important distinction. How are you going to differentiate low tide elevation and island? Again, a low tide elevation, wala siyang territorial sea, wala siyang contiguous zone, at wala din siyang exclusive economic zone. Subalit, kung ang low tide elevation ay within the exclusive economic zone of the coastal estate, ang coastal estate ay pwedeng mag-exercise ng exploration at exploitation ng natural resources. Ano ang pagkakaiba naman ngayon ng low tide elevation at ng rock? Okay? Because rock has 12 nautical miles territorial sea, 12 nautical miles contiguous zone, and has no exclusive economic zone, no 200 nautical miles exclusive economic zone, and insular shelves, but an island possesses all the rights. So, eto class yung pagkakaiba-iba ng rock, ng low tide elevation, at ng island. We have the Scarborough Shoal. Saan ko ba inilagay dito yung Scarborough Shoal? So, when we file a case before the arbitration court against China, we claim that Scarborough Shoal is not just an island, but a rock. And that is very interesting because if we are claiming a portion of territory, why is it you are downgrading it instead of claiming it as a regular island? Ito kasi class yung kini-claim natin ng legal team natin panahon ni Pinoy, no? We file a case before the arbitration against China. Ang sabi natin, kini-claim namin ang Scarborough Shoal hindi bilang isang isla, pero bilang isang rock. And that is very interesting. Kasi kung isa lang siyang rock, bakit mo pa siya i-claim na territory natin? Why is it you are downgrading that Scarborough Shoal from island to a rock? Diba? You are downgrading it instead of claiming it as a regular island. So why are we claiming it as a portion of our territory? It's just a rock, no? Actually, class, this is a clever move of a legal team formed by President Aquino. As I have said, an island has its own territorial sea. Diba? Sinabi ko yun kanina. Ang island, kung may complete rights yan may territorial sea yan. Meron yung 12 nautical contiguous zone. May 200 nautical miles exclusive economic zone. But ang rock, di ba? They only have territorial sea, contiguous zone, at wala siyang exclusive economic zone. So the strategy there of the DFA and the legal team was in case, halimbawa class, yung laban natin sa China, in case we lost it before the arbitration tribunal, at least the overlapping of our territorial waters with China will not be that much. They can only claim as far as contiguous zone is concerned, but not including our exclusive economic zone. So that is a clever move of the government. Why is it the Scarborough Shoal, we are claiming it just a rock and not an island? Because if in case na matalo tayo, hindi malaki yung mawawala sa atin sa exclusive economic zone natin. Okay. So the arbitral tribunal, among others, held that all territorial objects in the Spratly Islands are either low tide elevations or rocks, and Scarborough Shoal is also a rock. Okay, all territorial objects in the Spratly Islands are either, again, low tide elevation or rock. It means that all islands being claimed there by the Philippines, by China, by Vietnam, and other countries are low tide elevations like yung Subi Reef and yung Mischief Reef. Low tide elevation, wala siyang, again, low tide elevation, wala siyang territorial sea, wala siyang contiguous zone, at wala siyang exclusive economic zone. A rock, though it has territorial sea and contiguous zone, wala siyang exclusive economic zone. Example yung Johnson Reef and Quarteron Reef. It means that the island being disputed by China and the Philippines over Kalayaan group of islands, those islands being disputed, none of them cannot be considered as an island. So never that a portion of lands there has its own territorial sea, contiguous zone, and exclusive economic zone. However, paano pa pala? How are you going to determine whether that portion of land in the middle of the sea is a rock or island? Yun kasi yung tatanungin Ma'am, paano ba? Sige, sabi mong rock, sabi mong island. Under international law po, paano mo masasabi na yung kiniklaim mo ay isang rock o isang island? Hindi mo naman pwedeng sabihin sa tribunal na ay gusto namin i-claim na rock yan. Hindi naman basta-basta Kasi there should be a justification. So, ang sinasabi dito, how are you going to determine whether that middle portion is a rock or an island? And it is interesting because of the rights provided under UNCLOS. Remember this, what demarcates rocks and the island is not the size. It is never the size. There is a very large portion or area of the land in the middle of the sea, but cannot be considered as an island, but merely a rock. So there are circumstances where the size of the rock is bigger than an island. Because the consideration is not really a size, but the characteristic of the land area. So hindi mo pwedeng sabihin na yung land area kasi maliit, kaya rock lang yan. Kasi claim yan as island kasi malaki ang area niya. No. Under UNCLOS, okay, an island is that portion of the land which can sustain life and economic activity. So if that area cannot sustain a life or any economic activity, then that area is merely a rock and not an island. And the same is also according to our own baseline law. Now, how are we going to know that if the portion can sustain a life? Siyempre, class, kung walang water dyan, no essential elements to sustain life, like you cannot grow crops, di ba? According to the tribunal or other objects in the Spratly Islands are either low tide elevations or rocks, and there are portion that can be considered island. And the second portion is that the Scarborough Shoal is also a rock, and that is what we claim. Okay? So we'll move on. Okay. So the South China Sea and the West Philippine Sea were the UNCLOS classifies features of these territorial objects so as the basis of their natural condition. So hence the reefs which have been modified by the land reclamation installations such as construction of artificial islands cannot convert a rock or a low tide elevation into an island. So what does this mean? Okay. What China did, was in some low tide elevation. In order to claim, sabi nila, hindi naman rock yan. Ano yan? Yung we can have economic activities dyan. In order to claim some economic activities there, naghukay sila sa ilalim ng dagat. Tinabunan nila ng rock. So yung low tide elevation to form a strip of land. And then we all know that there are some islands in the Kalayaan group of islands where Chinese government built military establishments and airstrips. So, but sabi ng UNCLOS, even if you modify the area, that can be convert the classification of the land from rock to a low tide elevation to an island. So, ibig sabihin, those artificial, sinasabi na artificial island yun, class, sabi ng UNCLOS dyan, hindi mo siya pwedeng i-convert into an island. So, kung rock talaga siya at hindi siya nakaka-sustain ng life and any economic activities, that would remain as a rock and you cannot convert it into an island. Part 3. Its territorial sea, the seabed, the subsoil, and the insular shelves and other submarine areas. Okay, this would be the mga last topics na, no? So, territorial sea means also the claim over the Kalayaan group of island and North Borneo. And those are not part of the Philippine archipelago in measuring the 12 nautical miles from the baseline to measure our territorial sea. And we do not use a straight baseline method. And we only use here what we are on the way we measure our territorial sea over the Philippine archipelago. But in all other territories, class, the 12 nautical miles should be measured using the normal baseline method. And in normal baseline method, you do not draw outermost points in the island. So, class, when you speak naman of territorial sea, so that is the 12 nautical miles from the state baseline, and we exercise there a sovereignty. And the continental shelves, class, the difference between the continental shelves and territorial sea is that ang territorial sea, class, nag-exercise tayo ng sovereign power. But in continental shelves or insular shelves, we only exercise right, no, the right to explore, the right to exploit natural resources. So yun yung pagkakaiba nila. In continental shelves, this refers to the seabed, the subsoil, and submarine areas, and this extend beyond the territorial sea. So, ibig sabihin, beyond 12 nautical miles because, class, continental shelves can be as far as 200 nautical miles, but that is the general rule. Only up to 200 nautical miles because we have what we call yung bagong konsepto ng extended continental shelf. And this is the new concept introduced by the Supreme Court. Ito na yun, class. The extended continental shelf has two requirements. Again, what is extended continental shelf? If the seabed, the subsoil, the continental shelf of the coastal estate by its natural prolongation extends beyond 200 nautical miles. So it can claim extended continental shelf or beyond 200 nautical miles but not more than 350 nautical miles. So there must be ay magkaroon ng natural prolongation of the continental shelf beyond 200 nautical miles, but that is just the first requirement. Because the second requirement, ang sinasabi is that kung meron daw extension yung continental shelf, last, malinaw tayo ha, ang continental shelf sa ilalim ng lupa. If the extension of the continental shelf is more than 200 nautical miles, you must make submission thereof. Okay, before the commission on the limits of the continental shelf. So you have to submit or prove before this CLCS that indeed there is a natural prolongation of your continental shelf beyond 200 nautical miles and you want to claim such extension of your continental shelf because that submission must be recommended. So the term used by the UNCLOS is recommended and the same must be approved by the CLCS that your submission was approved and recommended by CLCS. So if it is approved, then you can claim that portion even if it extends beyond 200 nautical miles as part of your continental shelf, and that what is we call the extended continental shelf. So ibig sabihin, class, yung sinasabi ko sa iyo na extended continental shelf, ay hindi lang natin yan basta kiniklaim. Subject yan sa approval, subject sa recommendation ng CLCS. So example, yung Benham Rice, it is actually an extended continental shelf, hindi siya napapaloob doon sa 200 nautical miles. So that is part of the continental shelf, but it extends beyond 200 nautical miles. So that is located in the eastern part of the archipelago. So that was approved by the CLCS and now it is ours. Atin na yon. And there was an issue allegedly, when the AFP spotted a research ship of Chinese government doing research to explore the natural resources in Benham Rice. And that is illegal because the Benham Rice is considered as part of our extended continental shelf as approved by the CLCS. And based on NAMRIA and other researches conducted by UP, Benham Rice is rich in natural gas. So eto, class, ang sinasabi ko sa inyo, to illustrate further and for you to comprehensively understand the baseline. Under the UNCLOS, you start measuring your territorial sea from this baseline. Eto, class, yung baseline. Kita nyo yung dagat, yung pinaka-shore niya, yan yung baseline, class. When it was low tide, hindi ka sa high tide, low tide ka So and it is advantageous on our part kasi 'di ba low tide nga. And you have here the territorial baseline of 12 nautical miles mula dito sa territorial sea hanggang dito. You have the 12 nautical miles territorial sea. Then from 12 nautical miles to 24 nautical miles from contiguous zone and 200 nautical miles for exclusive economic zone where we can explore and exploit natural resources. So ito yung class. Ito yung sinasabi na mula dito sa territorial sea, magme-measure ka ng 200 nautical miles, class. Ito lang yung sa atin dyan. Okay? Yan lang yon. class, yung seabed na sinasabi ko, yan yung nasa, yan oh. Kasi di ba class, hindi naman pantay-pantay ang lupa. Di ba? Yan naman, di nga, may palalim, yan oh, may biglang palugso. So, ganyan ang pag-ano mo dyan, pag sukat mo sa ilalim ng lupa. So, iba yung sukat dito, class, at iba yung makiklaim mo pag sukat mo dito. Kasi, di ba, hindi pantay-pantay ang lupa diyan, iba ang pagsukat diyan. So, you have there the seabed, nakita nyo? And the subsoil, class, ito yung subsoil, where we can explore and exploit our natural resources, just like Malampaya Refinery, where it extracts fuel and natural gas at the bottom of the seabed or the subsoil. So, you have here, class, nakita nyo, yung extended continental shelf. The Benham Rise is para siyang naka-embossed, so, naka-embossed, no? Na land, and inside it is a natural gas. So we applied Benham Rise as part of our exclusive contiguous zone. And the one that flattens after is the exclusive contiguous, this is the exclusive contiguous zone in the high seas, and no country exercises over high seas. So this is res nullius, res nullius. Does anyone can explore the high seas? But there is an international convention signed by almost all countries to protect the high seas daw from the abuse of exploration and exploitation, like yung catching of endangered species and damaging the coral reefs. And as a rule, no country, walang kahit sino mang country ang pwedeng mag-claim ng sovereignty and sovereign rights or jurisdiction over the high seas. So, eto class yung ating extended continental shelf. Ito yung in-apply natin, class. Nakita nyo ba? So, na-claim natin itong Benham Rise. However, ito daw ay nag-explore na rin daw ang Chinese government dito sa ating Benham Rise because this is rich in gas. So, after this exclusive extended continental shelf, ito yung bagong konsepto sa ating national territory. Ito yung bagong konsepto. Ito yung in-apply natin at ito ay na-approve na ng CLCS. So, itong high seas class, wala nagmamayari to. This is res nullius. However, the United Nations once again, they prohibit exploitation and exploration and exploitation of our resources there, like yung panguhuli ng mga endangered species na yung pag-damage ng mga coral reefs. So, pinagbabawal yun dito sa high seas. So, makikita nyo, ito, class, ang discussion natin sa national territory under our Philippine Constitution.